Action.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Lori here. Welcome to the How Do You Spirit podcast. And today, we will be taking questions, by the way. Today, I have another super special guest. Her name's Elizabeth. Say hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. And we are going to talk about Elizabeth's kind of spiritual growth. So she is a client of Taco. Yes.
Absolutely.
And we have all had amazing experiences with her and being able to grow spiritually over the years. How long have you known Taco for?
Oof, I don't know how many years, but it's been a long time. I was very young when I met her for the first time through another client of mine. And so I've known her for a long time. Okay. I don't know exactly how long. I'm not good at
But
numbers.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while. Yes, it's been many years.
So a client of yours introduced you to Taco. Yes?
Correct.
And when you first heard about this and readings and all that stuff, what did you think? Like, what was your first thought in your head? Were you kind of like, did you totally believe in that stuff and spiritual guidance from the other side?
So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you the story why.
Yes.
My client had said that she had a reading with this lady that had told her something that was very exact, right? Very precise.
Yes.
And so when I first went, I didn't know much about it. And I didn't think to be honest, after she did the reading, I thought to myself, this is crazy.
Right.
For me to know all these things that she just told me, years have to go by. And who knows if this is going to happen.
Yeah.
This is not real.
Right.
Sure enough, 2 weeks after the reading, things start to happen. And I pay attention. I'm like, oh, wait. And not only things start to happen the way she said they were going to happen.
Yes.
And that's when I was more. And then I became a client ever since.
Yeah.
It's been years since I've been, I feel like she's guided me through life. And so at the end of the day, you take the decision.
Exactly.
But the guidance, the ideas, it's always very empowering, very hopeful. You always live with feeling so much hope,
Yeah. We get lost, right?
Correct.
In what to do. So with me, I would get, and this was later on once I was interacting with her and had more readings from Taco, but as you question yourself, you get these ideas in your head. We were talking about that earlier.
Correct.
And it's kind of a validation, right?
Yes. Sometimes I think that we already know the answers, but we just want that confirmation.
And the confidence to believe in ourselves.
Correct. You just know, but then. Yeah. And to me, it's very magical the way that, I admire this because to me, this is not possible, right? Like, how do they do this? How do they know? And I think for some skeptics, I heard people like, oh, they make it up. They look you up.
Yes.
Do you really look up like hundreds of people that are saying that this happened to them? I don't know, is it even possible?
Yeah. How could somebody, I'm sure there are people out there that do that, right?
Correct.
But how could, when I do readings, I get very specific messages. How would I know that about, somebody? So you talked to Taco and she gave you some guidance and now you're a believer.
Correct. And I want to say this because before I came here, I knew I wanted to talk about this.
Yes.
And when I was very young, and like we talked about this earlier, I always struggle with my self-confidence, with my self-worth, and things that most of us struggle with. I think most people agree that at some point, if not almost all the time, everyone it just struggles with this. And I remember coming to Taco, and at the time I did house cleaning. Okay, I used to clean houses for wealthy people, and one day I came to her and she said to me, you know what, I see you successful, I see you tearing down gutting houses, she said to me. And I said, Taco, I don't think I can do that. I don't have education. I didn't go to school. I speak English now, but at the time, wasn't as confident as I am today.
Yep.
And I said, I don't, how am I going to make money? This is my question because I don't believe what she's telling me. Like, this is impossible for me to even think and
Comprehend
consider
something.
this dream. Okay.
Yes.
And she said to me, "Oh, honey, you're not." And I asked her, like, "Am I going to make money?" And she said, "Oh, honey, you're going to make a lot of money, F money, not to swear." And the time went by, and obviously I still didn't believe it. And it took many times for her to guide me and give me confidence in myself. And then I remember one time, and she said, "And you're gonna sell houses." And when you think of an immigrant who came here illegally, didn't have documents, didn't have any education, all these things, you never think you're gonna make any money. And so I remember asking her the first time, and I said, "When I sell these houses, are you gonna share my business cards with your friends?" And immediately she said, "Yes, I will."
Yes.
And that gave me confidence, like, oh, not only
Somebody
she
believed in
said,
you.
like, not only she said it, but she believed it.
Right.
And sure enough, eventually I went on to fixing and flipping houses.
Awesome.
And selling houses for clients. I became successful, known. Obviously, I wrote a book.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Tell us.
So it's actually a 4 times bestseller. And it talks about my story of how I came from Mexico, and I actually giving conference all throughout the United States about this. How I came here undocumented, crossed the desert with my oldest sister, and I was only 14 at the time. And how, I tell this story. Obviously, when you write a book, you have to. I couldn't traumatize people about what really, really happened, but we try to make it as enjoyable for people, as we could. And so we go on through that, like growing up without a father, from a single mom of 4, no education. My mom struggled a lot, like she didn't have help from anybody. And then coming to the United States, she actually crossed the desert before I did. Her story is amazing as well. Wow. She crossed for 7 days, no food, like people are left to die. And so eventually she has to ask this question. And one time I was in this conference with like these very wealthy people, and I started this conference saying like, "Will you send your children to die?" And everybody freaked out, like, "Oh, well, this is exactly what parents do when they send you to cross, because they don't know if they're ever going to see you again." Right? Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of trust. You don't know, especially when you're sending a 14 and 16-year-old, to trafficking. This. And so, this book talks about this, and I've gotten a lot of good response on this book. I'm very happy that people are enjoying, because I wanted to make sure people got this message that no matter who you are, you can make it. Yes. But not only you can make it, but it also takes people like Taco. Women, obviously I talk about women because I'm around women all the time, but it talks about these people that empower you, to move forward when you don't believe, because you don't know how many times I didn't believe in myself, but it was people like her that said, "Hey, listen, you can do it. I believe in you. Why don't you believe in yourself?" Right? And this is this is how I'm always grateful. And I see her as a mentor, as a mother. She and Luan, I don't know if you know Luan, but Luan is a friend of hers, and they both together always were there for me in the worst, because you don't visit them when you're happy. You don't remember them when you don't call them and say
it's like, when we have questions and need help, right?
Like, "Oh, I'm not doing so great. Do you want some money?"
I don't need to talk to you.
Like, no. You call her when you're like down, when you're doubting, and it lifts your spirit up. Yes. And so, that's how I met her, and how she became so like, I love her to my heart because of that, because it is because of her. And sometimes people that should encourage you and should lift you up, they don't. But other people, when I see people saying, "Well, I don't believe in that, this is not true," we gotta believe in something, because it's the faith and the belief that takes you. We all believe in something, and that's what keeps us forward, right? The next day. So
that's how we make things happen, right? Yeah. When we truly believe in ourselves, right? That's where it has to start, for sure. So what, you have to give your book a plug. What's the name of your book?
I don't remember the name. It's called, and I'm sorry because I didn't pick the title. I wanted a different title. And so The Desert Trail, A Journey to Success by Elizabeth Cordero. It's on Amazon right now. Eventually we're gonna rebrand it and do some work, but I wanted to put it out there. Getting the book out was also challenging, so
Yeah.
I'm taking a break from that. It's a lot of work, working back and forth, meeting with the writer, putting the ideas together, making sure your ideas that you want. But it's called The Desert Trail Journey to Success. It's on Amazon, and like I said, the first day people were literally waiting because I've already spoken different places and people wanting to hear
Sharing
more.
your story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sharing the story, and and just how somebody that you will think they can accomplish anything, right? Like when I first came here, I didn't even know what a coin was. I didn't even speak any English whatsoever. And
That's so scary.
it's so scary. Like you don't have the means. You're always around people who are telling you you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna even people that should, like, even people that love you tell you this is not possible. What are you doing dreaming big like that?
Right.
It's and then sure enough, slowly and surely you're making things happen. And then these people start to believe as well. These people start telling you like maybe it's possible for me too. And this is the beauty of connecting people with each other. So
Yeah, the right people.
and right people like Taco, people that inspire you, people that give you hope. Because
Yes.
at the end of the day, this is kind of all we need, the hope, because you're gonna make it happen. But if somebody tells you, I know, I believe in you, you're like,
Yes,
I believe in me too.
Yeah.
And then you start doing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're grateful that you met that person in your life. you know?
Yes, absolutely. I feel the exact same way about her. I've known her for years, like we talked about, and she's been very instrumental in my spiritual journey. And because she's told me stuff over the years too. Oh, this and that. I'm like, no, no, no. But here I am, and huge spiritual growth. Do you feel like that you have had some spiritual growth along the way?
I have absolutely have from 0 to a million spiritual
Yay!
growth.
Yes.
I used to be very materialistic, right? Like I
Okay.
would always think like about business and work, and this is all it needs to be done. I didn't think about myself. I just think money, money, and this is what I need to do, a goal, and I'd be around people that like that all the time. But I think back in, I can't remember the year, 2016, I had something very significant happen, which, by the way, Taco warned me about this.
Okay.
She said, this is gonna happen. You gotta be careful. And I still didn't listen. I still went for it. And it still happened. Okay. And something really bad happened in my life. And it almost made me lose myself in the point where I didn't want to live anymore. Where
Wow.
we think those dark thoughts like I should not be here anymore. And it's when I really start looking into spirituality. Like, what is a spirituality? Like, I needed that help, but I needed that help more internally. Like, who can help me with this? And this is when I did a journey. I'm not going to say the name because
Right.
obviously it's not very well seen in the public, but I start feeling spirituality very close to my heart. My mind changes where I understand the connection between my higher power and myself, where I value myself more just for being, for no other reason,
Just for
than
being
just
you.
being created.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
What a beautiful being. The heartbeat, if you think of the magic of the body, right?
I've done that like when we have babies. It truly is a miracle.
And we see it and we're like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah, that you grow these little humans inside you and they come out, healthy.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is. It's a miracle. It
I
happens.
think after I did that, I started to realize how more important people are over everything, how more important moments are. You can never, like, your time is your life, and you can never replace staying with your daughter, an extra hour. You're not gonna remember how many thousands of dollars you made selling that house,
Right.
but you're gonna remember when she got married, or when she had children, or these very special moments that are more meaningful that people realize in life. And that's what spirituality did for me. It's believing in something more than what we can see, even though we don't know it, we don't see it, we don't feel it. And so for me, it was, to be honest, a huge change from 0 to now. I'm all about spirituality, right? Now I want to meditate. I'm just kidding.
Do all the things.
Yeah, but it's been a beautiful journey for sure.
That's so amazing. So you think obviously then that the spirituality and your beliefs changing at that point and grow, you've grown and helped you realize, family's important, people are important, not so much the materialistic stuff. And so how do you feel like you're continually growing, or did you just have an awakening and you're okay, I'm here now, I've arrived, or do you still feel like you're kind of on that spiritual growth path?
Oh, I don't think you ever grow. I don't think there's enough life in this lifetime or the next
Where it
or
would
the next one
end,
where it
right?
would end.
I agree.
I feel like you're always evolving. Life is
Mm-hmm.
changing. People are coming and going in your life. They're teaching you, you know. And Luan told me this thing one time. I was very hurt for what happened to me. I was like in a lot of pain and I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, after this, I did this journey. I understood so much more why things had happened to me. And it was all a lesson for life. It makes you a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Luan told me this story, and I can't remember quite exactly how she told
Right.
it to me. But at the end of the day, she said to me, when we're in heaven,
Uh-huh.
there's all these spirits, okay?
Uh-huh.
We're all the same. We're all peaceful and beautiful and amazing, okay? And then we want to come to Earth and experience what is this Earth thing
It's
that's
hell.
down there, right?
Yeah.
And so we go, okay, let's go down there. And we're like, what do you want to experience? Well, I want to experience, being abused by my father, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, who wants to be my father? But because we're all perfect and nice, we're like, no, I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I want to be your father. It's horrible. It's awful. I don't want that. And then, then one spirit that really loves you says, I'm going to sacrifice for you and I'm going to be your father. But just remember that I love you when this happens. So you come to Earth.
Yep.
You're now a person. And sure enough, your father abuses you.
Mm-hmm.
And you hate him for life, right? Because he's been a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you see your father dying. And he says, remember that I've always loved you. And then you realize that those that hurt you the most are the ones that love you the most in heaven.
Yes.
To help you in this earth to go through this experience.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting so
And
chilly.
because of this, you cannot but love those people that actually you see them as enemies. They hurt me. They did this to me. Because I used to see them that way, right? Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, how he dare do this to me is very painful. And I'm like, well, he's my friend.
That was his job.
Yeah, that was his job. In heaven we agreed. And now, okay, thank you. I mean, it was hurtful. I'm not denying, because you should never say, oh, what they did wasn't wrong. It was wrong at the end of the day, right? But we learn from it and we become better. Yeah. Imagine how better of a people we are today because of what happened. All the suffering has a beautiful ending. And I saw this when I'm doing this journey. And I see these like pieces of sand in my heart. And Jesus comes, and takes this sand and throws it in the air and tells me, pain is to make you beautiful, like a beautiful person. And then I saw the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in my life. And it's those experiences that takes us. So spirituality in itself is continuing to grow, continue to grow in compassion, continue to grow to understand that if we hate those that actually are helping us learn in this life, it's not going to take us anywhere, right?
They're lessons for us to grow. Yeah. I listen to a lot of Wayne Dyer's books. Do you know who he is? Yeah. And I'm listening to one of his now. He tells his whole life story and how every experience in his life has just led him on a growth path and something bigger and better in the end.
Yes.
So yeah, that's amazing. I truly believe that. So what, as part of your spirituality, do you have, like I have my things. I talk to my angels in the morning, or I'll go out on the patio and have coffee and talk to my angels or whatever. Do you have certain things you do? Are you a meditator where you sit on the floor with your legs crossed? Or I meditate in the car a lot when I'm driving. Like, what kind of things do you do to enhance your spirituality?
This is crazy.
No, nothing's crazy
and
here.
This is like what Taco told me too.
Yeah.
I meditate while I do. So the busier I am, the more in zone I am. So I'm meditating that way.
You have. I'm the same way. I can't sit in pure silence and
Okay,
I'm
I'm like a doer,
same,
like
yeah. So you do that
yes,
while you're busy.
correct. And then most of the time, because I have the opportunity, like, we do renovations in homes, we're working there, let's say we're cleaning up the house before, we're going to put it for sale. I'm always listening to audiobooks. I'm always listening to,
Yep.
before I go to bed, I put beautiful meditations of forgiveness or whatever I feel I need in the moment.
Yeah.
There's so many things on YouTube that you can actually just look and listen to before you go to bed. I know there's some that at night they're saying, I deserve, I this. And then the next day I wake up and like, yeah, me too. And so I think it's very important to constantly be looking, because I know what happened to me at one point is that I knew something was wrong in my life, but I didn't know the answer for it.
Okay.
And I think it's even looking it up, right? Like sometimes people question simple things that maybe may seem so simple, but at the end of the day, we don't have the answer for them. And so we need other people's perspectives, right?
Yep.
When somebody's giving you advice, they're giving you wisdom of however many years they have, 30 years in one, in like one conversation. This is why it's very important to listen to them and take on, their advice.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I resonate with a lot that you're talking about. Same thing. So that's so cool. So moving forward, do you, like, as far as your goals and things that you have now that you're working on in your life, we were kind of talking about that earlier. What's your takeaway? Like, how are you going to ask Spirit to assist with what you have on your life path coming?
The Spirit, help me find treasure.
Right? Only her and I know what that means, but
no, honestly, what we were talking earlier, because we were having a conversation, is that I actually do that. I like to ask for very specific things.
Okay.
So I remember I used to date someone long time ago. Okay. And he was very handsome and we ended up breaking up, not on good terms. And then he committed suicide.
Oh.
And I remember, I can't remember if I was going through grief or whatever. And I asked if you, because I kept having dreams about him. I remember having this dream where there's this bus full of beautiful women. And I'm like, oh, David, he's still fooling around in heaven. You never change. Yes, and then I asked, because me and him had this like beautiful moment while he's wearing this Santa Claus, suit. And I remember
in
asking,
your dream?
No,
like in real life. Okay.
So I asked for this confirmation, if there was whatever, something that I needed to do or something, for me to see this Santa Claus suit somewhere, And sure enough, I'm looking through, and this is not Christmas, of course,
right? And
I'm looking through my feed, and I see specifically what I asked for. And then I knew, like, yeah, this is confirmation of what I already, I'm asking. So I believe in this, and so I always try to ask that. And obviously, following your intuition, right? What feels right. Praying, I believe in praying. I believe in, always having communication when I'm in most difficult times. Like, God, please help me, because this is beyond me, because otherwise I can't do it by myself. Like, I need you here now.
The guidance.
And I feel a lot of people feel, like that loneliness, like, what do I do? But there's always this like higher power or energy, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of with you, within reach, to assist you, just waiting for you to ask. And you're like, you're like a dummy, like, I don't know what to do, but here's like a whole army of people saying,
waiting to help.
Let me help you, you need help, and you're like, oh, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. And they're like, just like, if you just ask me for help, I would come help you, but I can, intervene your free will. So so I am a believer of asking for signs, following intuition, praying. Like, there's a lot of things I feel like people do all the time that takes them to, to that experience. But I guess you let us know what works for you as well, and tell us what's your most favorite, if you haven't, like, what's your most favorite sign to receive as confirmation of this is what I need to be doing.
Right, right. I have asked for signs before and I've gotten them every time. And I think the most thing that I enjoy, although it can be overwhelming, is, and I don't know if you call that meditation. Probably when I'm driving in my car talking to my angels or spirit or whoever wants to listen, I love having those conversations with them in my mind. And sometimes it takes a minute to get answers, of course, because it's always harder to get answers for ourselves. I feel like, and when you said specifically asking something, that's something I've had to learn to do too, is be specific in what answers I'm asking for. And we're not going to get, this is the way I feel anyway, this is my personal opinion, I don't feel like we're going to get sometimes always a clear straight answers, right? Because we are here to have life lessons and learn and grow and everything. But I also at night, I have to be careful with this. When I go to bed, I like to be grateful for what, my day or whatever. I also like to set intentions in the morning and be grateful in the morning too. But when I do have to be careful at night, because then the conversation gets started and then they don't be quiet.
So let me ask you this, because maybe there are people out there that, like, some people have that ability to be able to communicate. They're more in turn, or they have a gift.
Yeah.
What do you tell to people that say, okay, how do I talk to my guys if I can't, you know what I mean? If I don't have this gift other than just verbally voicing.
Yes.
This is, what do you tell to them? What do you say to these people that, otherwise don't have the gift to have these conversations?
I would say, well, I speak out loud, but I also talk to them in my mind. So I envision myself having conversation with my angels, and I actually vision my angels, and I call them my six pack. I have 6 angels at my table. And so I talk to them either verbally or just in my head. I for some reason I think if I say it out loud, I communicate better, but I really don't that I don't need to. Yeah, I do it. It's all in my head.
No.
That sounds crazy, but no, it is. It's all in my head. That's how and I just feel like having, and again, it varies for everybody, do you need to be in that quiet space to really concentrate and try to communicate? Or like you said, you need to be busy. I'm the same way. I can totally do that while I'm busy. And so again, I think it depends on people, but you have to just try different things and see what works.
One of the things that I enjoy is going to retreats. Like, I know sometimes people think like, oh, there's not enough money to do that. But you don't need to spend money. You can just grab a bunch of friends that are spiritual, go to the mountains, bring some fire, good, healthy food, sing some songs and share ideas and things like that. That's one of the things that has connected me a lot to, a lot of good people. People are like, it's crazy because people ask me like, how do you have all these spiritual friends? Like, because sometimes like, oh yeah, she knows that she can read this, she can read that. Like, and people are like, oh, what? How do you find these people? I don't know. They find me. We find each other, but we know each other,
Right?
But having that group of friends that identify with your spiritual journey, right?
Yes.
And looking for them, and because we live in a country where we're so busy with things, like we can be busy all day long with work.
Yep.
But making that time to the things that matter most, I think it's very valuable, because we really otherwise go the whole life without doing this. But if we make it to a point once a month, all these powerful females, I obviously always talk about women because that's what I'm more around, but
right.
We bring these women together and we go on a journey, and we share ideas. We come back feeling better, feeling uplifted, feeling a different person with more wisdom, with more sense of, I can do this. And so for that, I'll always be grateful to Taco, because I feel like she's very, very important part of my life, to be honest.
Same.
very,
Absolutely,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like, oh man, I don't believe, like, what are you talking about? Like me, a cleaner? I'm like, I actually went to see her smelling like bleach, all ragged clothes with bleach all over, and you're saying I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna be selling
Look at
houses?
me.
Like, yeah, look at me, and I don't even like dare speaking English very much, and I don't dare doing this is like 1,000 things.
Right.
And she said, yeah, you will.
Yeah.
And she said
And
with
look
so
at
much
you.
conviction. I was like, oh, yeah.
We've talked about that, Chelsea and I, having a get together with all of the podcast guests that we've had on. We want to do that, like have a mixer and share stories. And that's the reason I do this, because I want people like us and everyone out there to be able to connect in a safe space and learn from each other. Because again, like you said earlier, there's always something to be learned.
Absolutely.
Always. Yeah.
And in business we say proximity is power, right? Like if you want to be as successful as your friends, like my friends that come with me, I just had somebody come with me from a family member and said, oh, I really want to buy a house, but I don't have documents. And it's like, no problem, I know how to solve this issue. And he now has a house. He's extremely happy. He got a really good deal, and he's like ecstatic now. Why? Because he's hanging out with somebody like me who's like, oh, that's easy, no problem. But if he hangs out with other people like, no, don't believe it, don't trust it, this, that, like always, then it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like for me, like now I want to go do bigger things. So what do? I hang out with people that are doing bigger things.
Right.
And then for them, I'm like, oh, you little person, let me help you out, And it's like, okay. And so when you connect with people that are very spiritually in tune, we're not perfect. Nobody is,
No,
right?
of
Like
course not.
nobody's saying like, oh, because she does this. We all are human. That's why we're here in this world.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if we hang out with the right people, with the right mentality that share our interest, this is what makes it even more beautiful.
Yes.
Because you're hanging out with somebody that talks about spirits and things that are like our passion for you, and like and you can say even almost like a hobby, right? Like it's something that you embrace. And so I totally agree. You should do it.
We got to put something together after the holidays. People get super busy around the holidays, but oh my gosh, so exciting. We are going to have to let all of you go now, but I want to thank Elizabeth for coming on. Thank you so much. It's been so fun to meet you and chat with you earlier, and we will definitely be planning a mixer.
Sounds wonderful. I'll be there. Thank you.
So much fun. Thank you, everyone. And we are, just a reminder, we're doing our contest. So submit your ghost stories to howdoyouspirit.com. And the winners are going to get a free reading from myself and Taco. And also, I just want to tell you again, we have a merch line coming. So stay tuned for that. It's in the works. I'm so excited and super anxious and can't wait to see what all of that looks like. So anyway, go check us out on our YouTube channel, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at How Do You Spirit, and go follow us on YouTube too. We need some more followers. Thank you, Elizabeth, so much for joining me today.
Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
See you.